Good morning. Welcome to Morning Coffee Live. Today, I want to jump in and talk about the long game. If you ever wonder why tech companies seem to grow so big and so fast, and you look at a company like Amazon and you go, wow, it's so huge and it makes so much money, and Jeff Bezos is so rich. One thing most people fail to recognize, they played a long game, starting early. Amazon started out as a bookseller back in the original tech boom in the early 2000s. And Amazon was not a profitable company. I mean, they made money, but they weren't making profit. Nobody was getting rich from it. What they did is instead they took everything they made and they reinvested it back into their own company. So they were actually running in very large debt for many years. And then what they did is they took all of that money that they kept earning and borrowing and used it to build more and more infrastructure. And then what happened is once the infrastructure hit a critical mass and they didn't need to actively continue building it anymore, they finally started taking profits and they were one of the largest companies in the world. Similar concept applies to marketing. In marketing, you need to be in it for the long game. If you're only looking for low hanging fruit, looking for quick wins, they exist. You can get them through marketing, but that's exactly what they are. They are low hanging fruit and they are quick wins. It does very little for the long term stability of your company and the long term success. In the Amazon example, in the short term, over a period of 10, 15 years, and I'm looking at that as short term in that case, Amazon lost money, yet people were still willing to invest in them and still buy their products. Why is that? Well, one, they had a good product. Their product being a marketplace that made it easy to conduct business, do purchases, made it great for individuals who love the convenience. And one of the big things they figured out was the supply chain, getting stuff to your door quickly, generally in under 24 hours. But then the other side of what their business is it created a marketplace for companies that never had the market before. Now, if you make a product in New York, you can sell that product in California, Texas, New Mexico, Colorado, the Dakotas, anywhere you want via Amazon. And you even let them handle the shipping for you. It was a smart play. Well, going back to marketing, the long play is using your marketing to set your company up for future success. The same way Amazon could have taken all of its profits and just paid it out to executives and made a couple of dollars. Instead, they put it back into their business to grow it. Marketing, you need to do the same thing. We were looking at the annual marketing report the other day. And one of the things that I saw when I dug into the report is marketing as a percentage of revenue stream is still lower than what's generally considered the best levels. As a rule, you generally, mind you, it's going to vary company by company, industry by industry, situation by situation, but as a general conceptual rule, if you take 10% of your revenue and you look at that as your marketing budget, that's for stability. In the 20% range, you're looking for growth, and in the 30% range, you're looking for rapid growth. Once again, looking at the marketing report, most companies are sitting in the 8-9% range, which traditionally is the stability range. Now, mind you, for the very large companies, they can get away with a lower number just because, 5% of $10 billion in revenue is a lot more than 30% of $10 million. And so the larger the company you are, the more those numbers get flexible. But what you see overall is a lack of spend at the levels you'd expect for rapid growth for companies. Why does that matter? Well, while you might get sales up front, you have to remember 97% of your buyer market, of the people who would purchase your product, are currently in market for your product. only about 3% of your customer base is generally at any given time in the purchase mode. So, because of that, what ends up happening is you're grabbing that 3% with your campaigns for low hanging fruit and your low budget for marketing, and you're bringing those in, you're converting to sales. Other 97% of your market, you're not getting in front of them usually until they enter that 3%. And even then, you may not miss them, but by the time they hit that 3%, they might have already made up their mind to purchase with another company. Got to be in it for the long game. Another way the long game's played by the big companies, and I hate this method, but it's played, is it's a different type of marketing, and it's a hook 'em on it marketing. I'll continue with an Amazon example, and then I'll jump over to a YouTube one. Starting with Amazon, I want to look specifically at their Amazon Prime Music. Let me see. The app is called, yes, Amazon Music. Amazon Music popped onto the scene a while back. Nobody really used it. What they did is they said, if you have Prime, if you're a member of Amazon Prime, which many, many people are because they do it for the shipping for their Amazon purchases. And if you're, anyone like my wife, you can probably personally keep Amazon in business with the amount of packages that show up at our door. But if you have a Prime account, you also had a free account to Amazon Music included with your Prime subscription. Well, here's how they're playing the long game there. When they first did that, they said, here you go, you're on Prime now. They had a fairly limited music selection, but you were available to listen to anything you want. You could fast forward, you could rewind. It was just like having, access, if you will, to, depending on how old you are, 33s, 45s, 8 tracks, audio cassettes, CDs, or whatever else however you want to look at it, you had full access. You could hit play, you could hit pause, you could hit fast forward, you could hit rewind. Well, they decided they wanted to monetize the app more, make more money off it. Because, as I said, it was free with Prime. One of the things started seeing is they started limiting features. So you went from a free app where you could do everything to a free app where you could do some things. They got rid of the rewind button. You can't rewind a song anymore. They fast forward. So if you miss a part or your music turns down in your car because your GPS said something and it goes back up and you want to rewind your song because you missed your favorite part, yeah, you can't do that on the Amazon Music anymore. You can fast forward or skip, I should say, not fast forward. You can skip to the next song, but they limited the number of skips. Now we're going back to the old days where we had that issue. And all of a sudden your skips are limited. You can now only skip so many times within a certain time frame, and if you try to do more than that, you're stuck with your song. Well, along with these feature changes, and then finally the third feature change became a thing of you couldn't just pick any song you wanted anymore. You could pick a song, it may or may not play that song, and it'll put you in a playlist with that song and other songs like it. And along with those lovely changes that made us love the app so much more, was another little change that popped up. Amazon Music Unlimited. For $14.99 a month, you can get a subscription directly to Amazon Music Unlimited and get unlimited skip sync, the ability to rewind and play the songs you want to play. So you could get back all the features you had 2-3 years ago that were completely free. You can now have all those same features that you knew and loved back for the low, low price of $14.99 a month. Well, it's a different type of long game. Here it was hook you on the product by giving it to you for free, then slowly strip away the features, and then sell those same features back to you. That's a marketing strategy. It's a long game. You can't do it instantaneously. You do it too quickly. You make the change too quickly, and you will piss off everyone using your product, and you'll get no returns. You do it too slowly and you never get around to monetizing, but you got to find a balance there. And the thing is with like Amazon, doing that with Amazon Music, it's in the long game. They could have made the Amazon Music app a paid app right up front and tried to sell it to people. But had they done that, they would have been competing with iTunes, with Spotify, with I don't remember the name of the other one, but what they would have been competing with the major streaming platforms, music audio streaming platforms. So what did they do instead to avoid that competition? Well, they said, all right, we'll play the long game. We'll just give it away for free. At least that way people use the platform since they had it anyways, and they did that. Then once they got enough people on it, they said, okay, now let's monetize it because people already are hooked on the platform. It's a different kind of long game. Got to be careful with it. You can piss people off. I don't think most people even notice it as much as I do. I do very acutely as it occurs. I mean, from the very time I got limited on a rewind to or skip or anything else for selecting my song, I noticed, and they rolled out the rollback of features slowly over time. They're playing the long game to build a market. Another example where we are actively seeing it right now is YouTube. YouTube is either playing a longer game here or it's getting greedy. I'm not sure which. But one thing is with YouTube, you can purchase YouTube, I don't know, Premium, Prime, whatever it's called on that now, and go ad free. Well, I personally am a huge believer in ad free services. I hate ads. I pay to get around them. I don't do it on YouTube. And I'm specifically talking about like streaming. I'll pay the extra to get ad free streaming, things like that, because I don't want to be disrupted while I'm watching stuff. YouTube, I've never gone ad free. And the reason is I've done hundreds of millions or hundreds of millions of advertising over the years on YouTube. And I like to see the ads. I want to see what people are doing on there. So I'm always watching the ads. Now, mind you, there's times that I'm watching something on YouTube where I just want to watch interrupted. Well, YouTube has both skippable and unskippable ads. Skippable ads, after you watch a certain length of time, you can then skip them. And then there's unskippable ads where you're stuck watching the whole thing. Now, I don't know if this is YouTube playing a game trying to get more people to subscribe, but over the past, I'd say 2-3 months, really starting this year, what I've seen is more and more unskippable ads on the platform where you are stuck watching an ad break. And that annoys me because I don't mind watching their ads, but there's sometimes in certain videos, certain things where I don't want to watch an ad. I'd like to be able to skip it. If YouTube offered a tier where you can go ads on, but the ability to skip any ad instantly, I would happily buy it. I don't actually pay for the YouTube Prime, whatever it's called, because I want to have access to the ads. I don't want them to go away. But I would like to skip them from time to time, depending on what I'm doing at that moment where I may not be in the mood to look at an ad at all. I want to get through. Well, once again, come back to the long game. One of the things I think they're working on here is getting more people to sign up for their premium version of YouTube. And what I've been noticing is more and more unskippable ads popping up. And them starting to increase in time. It used to be you'd be unskippable for the first, 15 seconds, and then you can skip your ads and watch. Now you'll frequently be unskippable for 30 seconds to a minute. Secondly, it used to be you'd get an unskippable ad, and after you watched it, you weren't bothered with any unskippable ads for quite some time, usually a few hours after watching a skippable ad before they'd serve you another one, because they'd say, okay, you watched that one already. We'll give you some time to use the platform. We'll throw a few ads at you, but they'll be skippable. Not anymore. Now you'll get skippable ads followed by skippable ads, unskippable ads followed by unskippable ads followed by unskippable ads. And you're getting increased recommendations to join YouTube Premium for their ad-free experience. It's another version of the long game. YouTube already has people hooked on this platform. They want to go from a ad-based free model to a paid subscription option available. Can't blame them. That's what a lot of people want. I said I'm one of the weird ones where I actually like seeing ads on YouTube sometimes, just not always. Well, how are they going about it? I think they've been increasing the frequency of their advertisements, increasing the length of unskippable time, and decreasing the ability to skip ads, increasing the frequency of unskippable ads. as part of a long game to increase their subscription base. The truth is, at this point, there are very few alternatives to YouTube. That you have, is it Rumble? A couple other little options here and there, depending on what type of content you can find specialty spots for it. But YouTube dominates the online video market. That's for many, many years. Well, they monetize through advertisement. Now they're also monetizing through membership. Thing is, every time you get a new member who's paying you a monthly fee, that's one less eyeball on your advertisements, dropping or increasing your CPMs, just dropping your overall audience who's viewing your ads, which drops the value of those ads. Think about this for a second. If every single person on your platform paid to go ad free, you'd be Netflix, right? You'd be a membership service completely. At which point you're not going to make ad revenue because there's no audience watching ads. You can't sell advertising anymore. So what companies like YouTube are doing is they're doing a lot of research and going, okay, based on our subscriber or our user base, right? If we do a subscription-based service, how many people are going to sign up for the subscription service? And then they're finding the break-even point. They're going, okay, we know that approximately this many people are going to do that if we charge this amount, blah, 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 so that they can play both sides. They can get the ad revenue for the free users, and they can also get membership revenue for the people who would rather pay to skip ads. And I'm assuming that's a small enough minority that it's not affecting their ad business. It's not dropping their volumes to the point where, or their frequencies to the point where people are saying, I don't want to advertise on your platform. It's all subscriptions. There's nobody left to see my ads, because they're keeping it minimal. But once again, it's a long play. YouTube's been around a while and it's always been ad supported. Now they're working on going that membership direction. If they're really smart, they're probably also figuring out how to become more than just a digital streaming service for anyone and everyone, and looking at more original content. I know they've been trying. They had YouTube Red for a while, this and that, but then they haven't quite figured it out yet. They're still predominantly a video sharing site. But at the same time, they're in it for the long haul, and they're trying to figure out what to do there. When it comes to your marketing, you want to take the same approach. Get people hooked on your brand. Hook them on your brand long before you try to sell them. YouTube didn't offer the ability to sign up till fairly recently for an ad-free experience. Amazon Music didn't have this Amazon Unlimited where you can do whatever you want till a year or two ago when they started rolling this stuff out. When you're doing your marketing, first things first, get people interested in your product and brand. The reason is not everyone's in that buying mode right now. I said generally only 3%. So what you want to do is get them hooked on your brand instead. And how do you get them hooked on your brand? Well, you do that through marketing. You do that through public relations. You do that through advertising. They're all the same umbrella. I generally refer to it as marketing. Start playing the long game. Start talking to people about your brand. What makes your brand cool? What makes you unique? Who are the people involved? What do you do? What are your process? Whatever's interesting about your company, start using that in your marketing. If you don't have a large budget, do it through organic. Use your social media. Write a press release to your local paper and email it to the editors. It's not that difficult or scary. And with ChatGPT these days, it's pretty easy to figure out how to write a press release. If you didn't go to school for PR, use AI, right? Start marketing your company thinking of the long game. Stop thinking about just the low-hanging fruit. I'm not saying there isn't a place for that. There is, and the low-hanging fruit can be useful, but what it is everyone throws their money against the low-hanging fruit. They make money on it, but then what they do is they take that money and they pay it out. It goes into other programs. It goes into executives' pockets. It goes into salaries, this, that, the other thing. Let your marketing fuel your marketing. Let your short-term wins via your direct marketing, all your short-term marketing, all that low-hanging fruit, use those wins to fund your long-term marketing so that you can get it, you can have an engine going. The problem with the short-term marketing, the problem with the low-hanging fruit is there's no sustainability to it. You do a sales-based, product-based, acquisition-based, demand-based campaign. And I see it, I go, ooh, that's cool. I buy your product, right? After I bought that product, I'm not looking at it anymore. I was in market, you got me. Who you didn't get was the other 97 people, or if you're going with me, the other 33 people who might buy it in the next few weeks, but did it today. So take my sale, the purchase I made based on the impulse buy on your short term marketing, and take that revenue, put that into your branding campaigns to hit the other 33 people behind me who aren't in market today, but will be soon. You do that, and if this is your pool of buyers at 3%, and here's your total pool, the total 100, right? As you add money into brand marketing, so here, let me step back slightly. Here's your total pool of customers. Here's the 3% in market today. As you do demand-based marketing, you sell to this 3%, you shrink this pool as they purchase. And this pool naturally grows as people from the 100 enter into that purchase zone. But it's always going to stay here. And as you sell to them, you're just doing this. And it gets a little bigger and it goes down, up, down, up, down, up, down, right? Bigger, smaller, smaller. As you do brand marketing and you're hitting this, not just these purchasing, but you're hitting this, what you actually do is you increase the size of the pool overall because more people become aware of your company, aware of your product. And so you start increasing the size of your potential client base. And now as you increase the size of that, your 3% down here also increases along with it. And that becomes a bigger pool. If you get your total pool to this big, 3% of that pool is a lot bigger than 3% of this pool, which is here. Get in it for the long game. Don't ignore brand. If you ignore brand, yes, you will get short-term wins, but you will also not set yourself up for the long-term win. You're going to be just shrinking that pool, waiting for that pool to grow, and you're never going to scale. Yes, you'll make money. But once again, if you don't put that money back into a long-term strategy, into your marketing, if you're not interested in playing the long game, you're going to be chasing your tail. You're going to be doing those short-term tactics all day, every day, constantly chasing that 3% in market and getting what you can from it. If you instead focus some of those funds into the long game, you can increase that pool size, and through time, high tides rise all ships. Keep pumping into marketing. You're playing the long game. If you're not playing the long game, you are setting yourself up for long-term failure. Simple as that. You cannot just chase your tail all the time and chase low-hanging fruit all the time unless you are a low volume, high margin, company. You can't just be chasing the in-market sales. You have to be playing the long game, and you have to be elevating your brand consistently so that you increase the pool of people in market. And secondly, so that when the people go from out of market to in market, that they're already aware of you and their purchase decision simple. Not only will you increase that skill overall, you'll increase your efficiencies, your low-hanging fruit, your demand campaigns that are trying to grab that 3% in market become more efficient because that 3% in market either A, already knows about your company, or B, it's a larger pool. And so it's going to bring down your cost per acquisitions. Your cost per results are going to come down as you increase it. So the long game. The big tech companies have figured it out. The big non-tech companies have figured it out. Walmart has been playing the long game. McDonald's got in it for the long game. Had the founder of McDonald's said, I'll be happy just selling burgers, McDonald's wouldn't exist. We'd just have another burger joint, and there's millions of them, I would argue, and there's thousands and thousands of them. What made McDonald's different? They played the long game. Took every penny made and every penny they could borrow, and they put it into infrastructure to prepare for their future. And what did they do? Well, they got to the point where they're 3% of the market impulse buy That market is the entire United States because everybody knows about them and they're everywhere. And by playing the long game, they were able to build their company to the point, and once again, use this as an analogy to marketing, they were able to vertically integrate by raising their own cattle and having their own slaughterhouses and their own farms and their own, French fry manufacturing facilities, yada, yada, yada. They were able to vertically integrate to get the cost of a burger down to the point where you could buy a cheeseburger for, I think with inflation it's now $22, but it used to be you could buy a hamburger for 89 cents, cheeseburger for 99 cents. Go back farther and it was even a lot cheaper than that. When I was a kid, I think you could buy a hamburger for 49 cents and a cheeseburger for 59 cents. How do you pull that off? The long game. If I were to go out right now and try to open up a burger joint, I can't sell a cheeseburger for $1. I couldn't sell it for $2. I couldn't sell it for $3 because the cost of the meat is more than that. Well, how do you get around that? You play the long game. Conversely, in marketing, you're not building physical infrastructure to grow your company. You're building brand infrastructure by doing the long game, by doing consistent brand marketing. You're building the infrastructure of your brand. And once you hit critical mass and people know you're there, it makes it so much easier to scale and so much easier to get the low-hanging fruit because you already have the market built. So that's all I want to talk about today. Don't forget the long game. It's so important. Nobody's doing it anymore, and it's the first thing cut. The moment people get scared, the first thing they do is they cut the long game marketing budget. And the truth is, that's your key to long-term success of your marketing, far beyond the quick sale you can get today. Well, thanks so much for watching, everyone. Have a wonderful day. God bless. Bye.